Now on CoastTV News.
Well, it's a frosty, freezing start for some of us. Some very cold temperatures. We're going to warm up pretty nicely into the 60s through the afternoon. We have the 70s returning for the weekend before a well-advertised winter blast arrives next week.
Tax code showdown. Delaware General Assembly targets deficit with bill to break from federal changes.
Shutdown fallout. FAA's air traffic cuts may ripple to Salisbury Airport.
Restoring Dewey Beach town plots rebuild after Erin batters coastline.
This is CoastTV News Today.
Good morning. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us and being up with us during this 5 o'clock hour. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Grace. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us. Matt Pensick has the day off.
And he's enjoying it,
He's enjoying it in a place you know very well. I do not.
Like the back of my hand.
I know, and that's why you're wearing navy today.
It is. Yes. It is. And you know who else is wearing navy? Is our first light meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, another Penn State alum.
So technically I'm supporting Chris's Eagles, but yes, Matt Pensick is enjoying his weekend in Happy Valley. I'm very happy for Matt.
Good for him.
And Chris, this week we know Matt was really worried about the weather up there at Penn State, but let's talk about the weather this morning, Chris. We saw some frost on the cars.
Yeah, good morning, Elisa and Grace. Yes, we are seeing some of our coldest temperatures, in fact, since early April in some of our towns across Delmarva. We're at 30 degrees right now in Salisbury, and you can see some of these temperatures. Look at this, 29 Harrington, 31 Bridgeville. We're at 32 in Laurel. A little milder at the beaches. We're only at 40 in Rehoboth, 41 in Bethany Beach. We have ideal radiational cooling conditions out there with calm winds and clear skies. Now, we have that freeze warning for all of Sussex County with the exception of the beaches, Kent County, as well as portions of the midshore. This runs through 8 o'clock this morning. And then we have frost advisories up for Dorchester, Wacomico, and Worcester County through 8 a.m. So we have clear skies. We actually have high pressure sliding off to our southeast, and that's going to open up the door for a southwest wind. So we're going to warm up pretty nicely through the afternoon. Tracking this weak front back off to the west, that will bring a round of brief showers and maybe a sprinkle overnight. That's not really going to amount to much. Our more significant cold front arrives Sunday. 70s are going to be making a return, believe it or not. And then that well-advertised winter blast arrives Monday into Tuesday. So we warm up from the 30s and 20s this morning. We're up to 52 by around 9. Mostly sunny skies to start. Now we will see high clouds increase through the afternoon and into the evening as we top out in the mid 60s, and those winds will be out of the southwest, gusting as high as 30 miles an hour. Coming up, we will talk about a mild weekend ahead. Saturday definitely looks like the better of the 2 days of the weekend, and then we'll talk about that Arctic blast. Yes, it's going to feel quite like winter around here as we go into the early part of next week. We'll talk more about that coming up in the full 7-day forecast. Grace.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story at this hour, the Delaware General Assembly is set to review legislation to combat a state deficit. This week, District 20 Representative Alana Berry co-sponsored House Bill 255. Supporters of the measure say that it will prevent a projected $400 million shortfall caused by recent federal tax changes. The bill would separate Delaware's tax code from certain federal provisions, stopping corporate tax breaks that Democrats claim would drain the state over the next 3 years.
Cuts to air traffic at major airports across the country could impact flights at the Salisbury Airport. The Federal Aviation Administration announced a plan to cut 10% of air traffic as it deals with a shortage of air traffic controllers due to the government shutdown. Among the airports that could be impacted are Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Orlando, and all 3 of those airports serve Salisbury.
If the staffing at those 3 outlier airports that serve Salisbury is affected, then that affects how many slots airplanes have to get into the national airspace system. So yes, going to Philly, going to Charlotte, going to Orlando, our passengers could experience delays due to the air traffic control shortages.
And flight cut-downs at major airports will be phased in starting today. It's unclear if and when this will begin to impact flights at the Salisbury Airport.
And here's a look at some of the current flight delays at airports across the country. On your screen right now are airports in Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Orlando, along with others. Those areas are green that are showing no delays right now. The Department of Transportation now slashing flights at 40 of its busiest airports across the country. And because of staffing issues due to the shutdown, that closure is now 37 days long.
But there could be some relief for the millions of people who get food assistance from the government. NBC's Alice Barr shows us the latest on both issues.
This morning, two major headlines driving home the consequences of the nation's longest government shutdown. Air travelers feeling the effects of a reduction in flights beginning today at 40 busy airports because of staffing shortages.
People are just waiting. It's been awful.
While more than 40 million Americans waiting for SNAP food assistance benefits to feed their families.
It's an avalanche.
Are getting some backup from a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to fully fund the program by today. The White House has been processing partial payments and is appealing the ruling.
In the midst of a shutdown, we can't have a federal court telling the president how he has to triage the situation.
But the judge said the lapse in payments should have been avoided, accusing the administration of ignoring his last order to quickly restart payments and of withholding them for political reasons, citing President Trump's Tuesday post threatening to stop benefits until Democrats agreed to end the shutdown. All as long lines at food banks across the country demonstrate the urgent need.
I work and then I have to get out of work so I can make a line over here to get some food and then take it home, and then, we have to do a lot of extra things.
Back at airports, more long lines and growing frustration.
Come to agreement and get this government working.
The cutback in flights starting at 4% today to reduce strain on the system, while air traffic controllers working without pay call out to work other jobs. If the shutdown drags on, the FAA planning to reduce flights by 6% Tuesday and 10% next Friday to ensure top safety. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Seaford police say they were called to help federal ICE agents here around 8:20 on Thursday morning. This is the Seaford Lowe's. Officers say ICE agents were trying to arrest someone when that person allegedly fought back and ran off. According to Seaford police, the suspect was found hiding under a utility trailer nearby. Officers helped hold the scene and move the trailer so federal agents could take the person into custody. Seaford police say the suspect got a minor injury and was treated until medics got there. They say ICE is handling the case from here. We also reached out to Delaware State Police. They say they were called to the scene but couldn't share details about the person arrested and referred us to Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Happening today, leaders in Dewey Beach will gather to continue to deal with Hurricane Aaron's impact on its beaches. The storm created a clear drop-off in elevation after heavy waves cut into the beach. The town currently has $6.1 million in beach replenishment funds. One man that CoastTV spoke with says it's important that the town has what it needs to keep beaches in good condition.
I would be for anything that responsibly works to preserve the beach and the bay and make this, continue to make this a very special place to visit.
The Resiliency and Sustainability Committee will gather in just a few hours at 9 a.m.
New this morning, the latest Maryland school report card shows improvement across key areas, including academic achievement, English language proficiency, and graduation rates. According to Governor Wes Moore, almost $10 billion in funding is helping boost classroom performance, strengthen reading and math scores, and address the teacher shortage. State data also shows that 86% of Maryland schools earned at least 3 stars this year. That's up from 83% last year.
And we're just getting started in this hour of CoastTV News Today.
Coming up on CoastTV News Today, Goodbye Dairy Bar. We'll tell you why one long-standing seafood restaurant is closing its doors.
And Mission makes plea for donations. We'll tell you how much of a gap one food pantry says it's facing.
And Run causes bridge closure. We'll tell you when to expect delays on Maryland's Bay Bridge. And First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono is in our weather center. We will check in with him after the break.
Good Friday morning, Delmarva, as we take a live look into Salisbury. We are below the freezing mark there at 30 degrees, 29 in Harrington. Cold morning along that Route 13 and the I-13 corridor there, but a little milder at the beaches, 41 Rehoboth and 46 Indian River Inlet. Winds are calm, skies are clear, and that is allowing for those temperatures to fall at this hour. We have high pressure just off to our southeast, and that's going to return a southerly wind flow into the afternoon today. So despite the cold start, it's going to be a rather warm afternoon, but a breezy one at that. We start off in the 30s, some of us in the upper 20s, on our way to highs in the mid 60s, and it gets even milder over the weekend, or near 70, and then that big cool down that we've been telling you about comes into early next week. We will talk about some light rain chances tonight, but a bigger chance of rain on Sunday. 7-day forecast here in just a few minutes. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up on Sunday, the eastbound span of the Bay Bridge is closing for the annual Bay Bridge Run. The closure starts just after midnight and lasts until about 2 p.m., weather permitting. The Maryland Transportation Authority says drivers should expect delays.
Southbound Route 113 at Avenue of Honor will have nighttime lane closures starting November 9th, and that's according to DelDOT. The agency says that the project will extend that existing turn lane, and it should take about 2 weeks.
Ocean City has some new changes to Winterfest of Lights. It kicks off November 20th through December 31st. Every Friday and Saturday night, the park will light up and fire and ice nights, and brand new this year, horse-drawn carriage rides through the lights at North Side Park.
And this is so sad, Elisa. The U.S. turkey population is at the lowest level in nearly 4 decades. The American Farm Bureau Federation reports the turkey flock is at an estimated 195 million birds this year, and that lower number is actually due to the multiple outbreaks of an avian disease and illness. The USDA is forecasting a national average wholesale price that is 40% higher than last year.
Well, sticking with Thanksgiving, Amazon has announced its Thanksgiving meal deal at a cost of just $25 to feed 5 people. The deal includes an 8-pound frozen butterball turkey. The sides include pre-made mashed potatoes, gravy, green bean casserole, stuffing, crescent rolls, and cranberry relish. There's also your choice of pecan, pumpkin, or sweet potato pie. The meal will be available to order starting next Wednesday.
Sounds pretty good there. As we see temperatures this morning in the 20s and 30s, it's going to be a really nice afternoon in the 60s, and it trends even milder over the weekend before we see a big cool down into early next week. My full 7-day forecast is up next.
The time is now 5:16, and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. And Chris, we're up a lot earlier than a lot of people, so we were greeted by some frost this morning. That was definitely a shocker, but you said that's not too much to worry about. It's warming up. Yeah, you know, we're going to be in the 60s by this afternoon. Some of us are actually in the 20s, upper 20s to below that freezing mark, and you can see the 24-hour temperature change. 23 degrees cooler in Salisbury than when we were at just this time 24 hours ago. You can see we're at 30 in Salisbury, so we're dipping below the freezing mark west of Coastal Highway 29 in Harrington, so a frosty start to the day, but a little milder at the beaches where we are in the 40s. We have ideal radiational cooling out there. Clear skies, calm winds. We have high pressure over the area just sliding to our southeast, so that freeze warning is up for all of Delaware, excluding the beaches through 8 a.m. this morning, as well as portions of Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties. And then for our southern counties like Dorchester, Wycomico, and Worcester counties, we have that frost advisory up through 8 a.m. We also have small craft advisories up through early Saturday for the Chesapeake Bay as well as the Atlantic Ocean for some winds upwards of 25 to 30 miles an hour. There's high pressure just off to our southeast, and as that pushes off to our southeast, it's going to allow a southerly wind flow. So we're going to get temperatures back up into the 60s this afternoon. Weak trough back off to the west. That's going to be pushing through later on tonight, giving us a small chance of a shower overnight into early Saturday. Better chance of rain comes Sunday, and then that cold air arrives into early next week. We're at 30 degrees in Salisbury on our way to highs. In the lower to mid 60s, winds will pick up a bit out of the south, gusting upwards of 25 to 30 miles an hour through the afternoon and into the evening. So if you're making your way out to football this evening, it's going to be rather balmy, believe it or not. Temperatures are actually going to be in the upper 50s to lower 60s as some high clouds increase through the evening, but we stay dry. It's overnight into the early morning hours of Saturday. We see a weak shower sprinkle move through the area.
not going to amount to much. If you're sleeping in tomorrow, by the time you wake up, sunshine, temperatures are going to be in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. So definitely Saturday is the pick of the weekend. Sunday, it's still mild, but we also are going to see a greater chance of showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder as we go into Sunday afternoon through Sunday evening. Then that cold air arrives. Maybe even a brief shower or flurry into late Monday into Tuesday. Again, that's not going to amount to much. The bigger story is going to be that colder air that's going to be moving in primarily Tuesday. Tuesday looks like the coldest morning with temperatures in the 20s and 30s. We're at 64 today after that frosty start. Breezy conditions with the gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour. Mild night, 54 with spotty showers and a sprinkle. And then we're up to 70 on our Saturday. Partly cloudy skies, a mild day, and then that stronger cold front comes through Sunday, 69. We're at 52 on Monday, and temperatures are going to be dropping through the day and into the afternoon, and a cold and blustery Veterans Day, 46 degrees under sunny skies. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. The ongoing government shutdown is impacting food pantries like One Mission in Dorchester County. The resource says it's struggling with increased demand and depleted supply as the uncertainty surrounding SNAP food benefits continues. One Mission in Cambridge is facing a $17,000 funding gap. The organization is calling on the community to donate whatever they can to help keep the shelves stocked for those in need. One Mission Director Christina Petit says food insecurity can impact anyone.
Everyone from young adults to elderly, and so it's just a wide variety of people, but a lot of households and a lot of single people as well. It's just such a difficult time for people and just a lot of that anxiety, especially as we're gearing up in the holiday season.
One Mission says it will host its annual Thanksgiving community dinner on November 24th.
And after the break on CoastTV News today, this weekend, there's more fun activities, ways to honor veterans, and even a little chaos. Stay tuned for some cool things to do. Seaford may be saying goodbye to an iconic lunch spot. The Dairy Bar Family Restaurant on your screen right now is the eatery that's located on King Street. According to the owner, the building has been there for 86 years. The current owner, Stella Mariner, took over 25 years ago, and Mariner says she kept its name, the Dairy Bar, from a previous owner. There are several reasons Mariner says she's closing the doors. Those include a change in the building ownership and family health issues. Mariner says her customers have become like family.
Thank you. Thank you, because they've been loyal, and a lot of them have been helpful. And they've always, when our family has passed away, they've been right there for us, and we try to be there for them too.
The current Seaford Dairy Bar will close its doors at the end of the month, and there's no plan yet for what the next business will be, according to the property owner. They say they welcome another tenant taking over the restaurant and carrying on the Dairy Bar name.
Well, it is a cold start to this Friday morning, especially if you are west of Coastal Highway. In fact, Lewis, one of our more milder locations at this hour at the freezing mark there, but we're seeing temperatures in the upper 20s well to the west. And it's going to be a really nice afternoon and morning through Ocean City and Fenwick Island. We're actually going to get up into the lower to mid 60s. Winds are going to be gusting upwards of 25 to 30 miles an hour out of the south. So a pleasant afternoon through Lewis and Rehoboth after our cold start here. And Cambridge, beautiful day ahead with temperatures in the mid 60s. Crisfield as well. We're up to 61 by around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Louise Horner, Selbyville, Delaware. You're the winner of our CoastTV weather umbrella. And as always, you get your latest forecast by calling our First Alert weather phone. I'll be back in the next half hour with a roller coaster ride of temperatures ahead.
Well, if you've ever wanted to chuck a pumpkin as far as you can, or dress up like the Middle Ages, or even watch some incredible independent films, you may want to pay attention.
Here's Christina DeRobertis with your definitely cool things to do this weekend.
Filmmakers and film lovers can head to the Cinema Art Theater all weekend long for the annual Rehoboth Beach International Film Festival. Attendees can enjoy more than 100 films, from global dramas to local documentaries, and don't worry, there's plenty of popcorn to go around. You're going to want in on this pumpkin throwing competition at Big Chill Surf Cantina in Rehoboth on Saturday. It's the 8th annual Sling and Squash. Whoever throws their pumpkin the farthest wins a $100 cash prize. It's the last weekend for the Delaware Renaissance Fair, and if you don't go now, you have to wait until next November for all the sword fighting and fire blowing. The Mare Institute, you might know, rescues adorable and vulnerable animals up and down the coast year-round. And on Saturday in Rehoboth Beach, Mare is hosting its annual Fin Raiser. You can enjoy food, music, and wine, all while supporting the Institute. And remember, Veterans Day is coming up on Tuesday, and this Sunday, the Rehoboth Concert Band is honoring our nation's heroes with Duty, Honor, Country, a tribute to veterans at 3 p.m. at Cape Henlopen High School. You can head over to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do for event details, tickets, and more.
Now on Coast TV News.
Well, it's a frosty, freezing start for some of us. Some very cold temperatures. We're going to warm up pretty nicely into the 60s through the afternoon. We have the 70s returning for the weekend before a well-advertised winter blast arrives next week.
Deficit Defense Delaware General Assembly reviews bill to break from federal tax changes.
Better grades for Maryland. State sees gains in scores and graduation rates.
Taking action, Dewey Beach officials work to rebuild coastline following Hurricane Erin.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Grace Eckerly. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Grace. Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning.
And it was a chilly Friday morning at that. Elisa was right. We get up a little bit earlier than other people. So we saw some frost on our cars, had to turn on the defrost button.
Yes.
I'm like, look, I feel like I haven't touched that thing.
I know, but frost, I think usually means winter, which gets people in the Christmas spirit. I love Thanksgiving, so justice for Thanksgiving.
You're a Thanksgiving girl.
I am a Thanksgiving girl, but you said you might want to put up your Christmas
I may
tree.
put on a little tunes, a little Mariah Carey, and I know someone else has got some Mariah Carey on. It's our first meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono. Chris, your name is literally Chris Mass. Christmas.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's so good.
Yeah, you're the one that all these years, and somebody finally pointed that out. Well, as we take a look and feeling a little like Christmas out there this morning with those temperatures we're seeing, we're down to 30 in Salisbury. Look at the dew point, 28, so it's very dry out there. And we're going to see plenty of sunshine through the morning. That sunrise at 6:37. We're up to 53 by around 9 a.m. But look at some of these temperatures this morning. 29, Harrington. We're at 34, Milton. We're at the freezing mark, Millsboro. We are a little milder at the beaches. 44 in Lewis. We're at 43 in Bethany Beach. Skies are clear, winds are calm, and that is the ideal conditions to get that radiational cooling. Now, that freeze warning continues through 8 a.m. for all of Sussex except for the immediate coast, as well as Kent counties. And then we also have that up for Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties. And then a frost advisory is up through 8 a.m., and that encompasses Dorchester, Wycomico, as well as Worcester counties through 8 o'clock this morning. So we have clear skies out there. We had high pressure over the region overnight, and that's sliding off to our southeast. And that's going to open up the door for some milder air to get in here this afternoon. We're tracking this front back off to the west. It's actually going to be weakening as it pushes east, so not expecting a whole lot of rain as we go into the overnight into early Saturday. So we bump it up to 60 degrees by around 11 this morning on our way to highs in the lower to mid 60s across the peninsula. Winds out of the south-southwest will be gusting upwards of 20 to 30 miles an hour. As I mentioned, we have a brief chance of a shower sprinkle overnight into early Saturday, but the weekend, we're going to turn mild. Look at this. We're going to be up near 70 degrees. Saturday, I think, is definitely the better of the two because we do turn unsettled as that stronger cold front pushes through into Sunday, bringing us a better chance of rain and even a rumble of thunder. And then that well-advertised taste of winter arrives Monday through Tuesday, and even the possibility of maybe a little few flurries around. We'll talk more about that coming up in the full 7-day forecast a little later on. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Our top story this half hour, the Delaware General Assembly is set to review legislation to combat a state deficit. This week, District 20 Representative Alana Berry co-sponsored House Bill 255. Supporters of the measure say it will prevent a projected $400 million shortfall caused by recent federal tax changes. The bill would separate Delaware's tax code from certain federal provisions, stopping corporate tax breaks that Democrats claim would drain the state over the next 3 years.
Cuts to air traffic at major airports across the country could impact flights at the Salisbury Airport. The Federal Aviation Administration announced a plan to cut 10% of air traffic as it deals with the shortage of air traffic controllers due to the government shutdown. And among the airports that could be impacted are Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Orlando. And all of those airports serve Salisbury. Flight cutdowns at major airports will be phased in starting today, and it's unclear if any of this or when it will impact the flights at the Salisbury Airport.
And here's a look at current flight delays at airports across the country. On your screen right now are airports in Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Orlando, along with others. The areas that are green are showing no delays right now.
This just in, the FAA says the cuts are necessary because the government shutdown is causing air traffic controlling shortages.
Amy Kiley has tips for people flying or booking flights in the near future.
There's a number of things you should be doing to be aware.
Experts say travelers who plan to fly soon should know their options. The FAA is building up to a 10% flight reduction at 40 airports. Experts advise people departing within 10 days to keep an eye on their airline's app for changes. They say carriers likely will try to preserve their hub-to-hub operations and cut regional flights instead.
It may not be a bad idea to delay travel if it's not essential, or if you're in a smaller city, perhaps to drive to one of the larger hubs if it's close by, and also consider buying a backup ticket.
Several airlines are letting passengers change their flights for free. The law requires them to issue refunds for cancellations, but they're unlikely to reimburse stranded passengers for meals or hotels.
We have been rebooked on an 8 o'clock flight, but that flight is also delayed now until 11 p.m. and might never take off.
For people planning to buy tickets soon, experts suggest booking with airlines directly. They say that makes it easier to change flights. They recommend avoiding layovers if possible. And the Transportation Secretary suggests bracing for Thanksgiving impacts if the government stays closed.
If we have staffing triggers and we don't have enough controllers in an airspace where we did cut 10%, you might see additional delays.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Happening today, leaders in Dewey Beach will gather to continue to deal with Hurricane Aaron's impact on its beaches. The storm created a clear drop-off in elevation after heavy waves cut into the beach. The town currently has $6.1 million in beach replenishment funds. The Resiliency and Sustainability Committee gathers in just a few hours at 9 a.m.
New this morning, the latest Maryland school report card shows improvement across key areas, including academic achievement, English language proficiency, and graduation rates. According to Governor Wes Moore, almost $10 billion in funding is helping to boost classroom performance, strengthen reading and math scores, as well as address the teacher shortage. State data also shows that 86% of Maryland schools earned at least 3 stars this year. That's up from 83% last year.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says U.S. forces have taken out another suspected drug trafficking boat in the Caribbean. Officials say 3 people were killed in the operation. According to officials, it's part of ongoing effort to crack down on drug smuggling in the region. No U.S. troops were hurt in the operation. The U.S. military has now carried out 17 strikes since the campaign began in early September, killing at least 70 people. Those attacks have taken place in both the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific.
We have a lot more news to get to, so don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Park prepares for construction. We'll tell you how much Salisbury city leaders say it took to make this project happen.
And Cape Henlopen and Sussex Central to battle in a win for go-home game. And this contest had all the playoff feels.
And Rockefeller tree to arrive. We'll tell you how tall the centerpiece is and when it will take its place in New York City. Stay with us on CoastTV News Today.
We're seeing some frosty temperatures this Friday morning on Delmarva as we take a live look into Lewis. Temperature there right around the freezing mark. Winds are calm. We're at 32, Long Neck 29, Harrington 32 in Laurel, and 30 in Gumboro. There's those winds relatively calm at this hour. We're seeing clear skies, high pressure to our southeast. Return flow of southwest winds this afternoon, so that's going to help warm the temperatures up back to the lower to mid 60s through the afternoon. And those winds will gust a bit as we get to the latter part of the afternoon into the evening, upwards of 25 to 30 miles an hour. But a really nice weekend overall, especially the first half. It's a mild one as we approach 70 both days. Saturday, the drier of the two, and then that stronger cold front will be pushing through Sunday afternoon through Sunday evening, and that will produce a round of showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder. And then the bigger story is going to be the air that's going to be moving into the area behind that front. We're going to see some of the coldest air as far as our highs are concerned, more average for December, and we'll show you that coming up in that full 7-day forecast here in a little bit. Lisa.
Thank you, Chris. You're looking at the soon-to-be Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. This Norway spruce is headed to New York City, leaving its home of East Greenbush, New York. The 75-year-old 75-foot tree is a donation from the Russ family. It is scheduled to arrive at Rockefeller Center on Saturday.
It's very exciting. And some good news for Delmarva farmers. China is starting to buy U.S. crops again after last week's tariffs and trade meeting between President Trump and Xi. China has ordered about 120,000 tons of American wheat, its first purchase in a year. U.S. Ag says that products are on display this week at a major trade show in Shanghai, showcasing American crops to Chinese buyers.
I think from our U.S. soybean industry, we're very pleased. You know, we expected that this was a short-term bump in the road, but now we're very happy to have the opportunity for our U.S. soy from our 500,000 soybean farmers to be coming back into China.
However, China promised $12 million by the end of the year, and traders say they're still waiting.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning, sports fans. The playoffs are here, and this rivalry gave us a DSN classic. Cape Henlopen versus Sussex Central, DIAA Division I boys soccer quarterfinals. And Brenner Short of Cape Henlopen throwing the rock in. Lee Levis able to score the Vikings' first goal of the contest. Cape Henlopen up 1-0 in the first half. Then Richard Ortiz Roblero of Sussex Central sends the ball up towards the goal. Vikings able to stop it. Cape is still leading 1-0. Now in the second half of action, Ortiz Roblero able to knot this thing up. 1-1 your score, and this is gonna be a fun one, everybody. Melvin Mazarigos Lopez of Sussex Central dodging the Vikings, sends the ball flying towards the goal, but it is stopped. 1-1 second half. Short throws the ball up towards the net. Lawson Whaley tries to get it to go, but Ramos Solis saves it. Score is 1-1. Now to double overtime. Jackson Hess of Cape Henlopen passes the ball to Merritt Burke, who's unable to get there. Now in the second round of penalty kicks, Logan Correal of Cape Henlopen missed it. It's 6-6. Now Jefferson Soto de Leon of Central able to get it to go. Sussex Central comes out on top, 2-1, advancing in the DIAA state playoffs. That's all for sports. Have a great day.
Tonight on DSN at 6 o'clock, it's Down and Distance. Then at 6:30, you can catch Scoops and Scores. Your game of the night is live at 7. Indian River takes on Lake Forest in high school football. And at 10:30, it's Nittany Game Lake.
Yes,
the final
Matt will be
score.
happy.
I know, at 11. And for your DSN Plus exclusives, along with that Indian River football game, here's more football games taking place across the peninsula. At 7 p.m., Laurel takes on Delmar. Sussex Central hosts Smyrna, and Cape Henlopen hosts St. George's Tech.
And it's another week in the NFL regular season. This week on CoastTV, the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the LA Chargers. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Then stay tuned for CoastTV News right after the break. And we're nearing the end of 2025. Hard to believe, but today's entertainment report feels more like it's 1985. David Daniel donned his denim jacket, acid wash jeans, and Ray-Bans for this blast from the past Hollywood Minute.
This is your story. Honor your past
So you wanna be starting something
and embrace the future. That's what people want.
The first teaser trailer is out for the Michael Jackson biopic, Michael. Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, makes his feature debut as the King of Pop. The highly anticipated movie is due in theaters April 24th.
Billy, what are these things?
Gremlins.
More 80s nostalgia, Warner Brothers is bringing back Gremlins. The studio has announced it's releasing an as-yet untitled Gremlins movie on November 19, 2027. Chris Columbus, who wrote the original 1984 film, takes the director's chair and will also help write the script. No word yet on the cast or plot.
So our story takes place between seasons 2 and 3. But we soon learn that nothing is quite as they thought it was.
And Netflix has released the first look at Stranger Things: Tales from '85. The animated series, based on the streamer's smash hit live-action show, which wraps up this winter, is due out sometime next year. Heading from Hollywood to Hawkins, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. Sign up now for free at coasttv.com/sign up and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox every Friday.
Well, many of us this morning are at freezing or just below it. It is a frosty start to our day, but a beautiful afternoon awaits as we get those temperatures back into the lower to mid-60s. We'll be breezy at times with gusts to 30 miles an hour. We'll talk about the 70s and some nice winter air making its way back into the area early next week. My full forecast after the break.
The time is now 5:48 a.m. as we're taking a live look outside. And Chris, you've alluded to this in the broadcast a little bit. You said there's a chance of flurries next week.
Yeah, as this storm system pulls away, we get colder air wrapping around it. It's not out of the question, but we are seeing some pretty cold temperatures this morning. In fact, look at the temperature difference over the last 24 hours, or 23 degrees cooler there in Salisbury. So a frosty start, especially away from the beaches. We're at 30 Redden, 29 in Harrington, 32 in Laurel, and we are at 30 in Gumboro. We have clear skies, calm winds. We have had high pressure over the area overnight, and that freeze warning is up through 8 a.m. and that encompasses all of Delaware with the exception of the beaches, as well as northern portions of the mid-shore. And then we also have that frost advisory, Dorchester, Wycomico, and Worcester County. That runs through 8 o'clock. And those small craft advisories continue through early Saturday morning for the Bay as well as the Atlantic. We have clear skies, high pressure just off to our southeast now, and that's going to open the door for the southerly wind flow to arrive through the day today. So we're going to bump those temperatures back into the 60s. We're watching this front. It's going to be a weak front and weaken as it pushes into our area overnight. So expecting a few showers, maybe a sprinkle into early Saturday, but a better chance of rain rolls in on Sunday. We have clear skies, dry, cold conditions in Salisbury, 30 degrees there, on our way to 53 by around 9 this morning, with highs right around 64. Georgetown, 66 in Laurel, 64 in Cambridge. Those winds out of the south, 10 to 20, 64 in Salisbury. So there's those winds picking up later this afternoon through the evening, gusting upwards of 30. We'll see more of a west wind overnight and into Saturday, so it's going to be a mild night considering where we're at right now. A few high clouds roll in late in the day ahead of that weak front that's going to be pushing through overnight. So if you're making your way out to any ball games this evening, it is going to be dry, but rather on the mild side compared to where we're at right now. And then there's that brief shower chance in the early morning hours of Saturday. We clear out, and we're looking at a really nice afternoon as we bump those temperatures up to near 70 degrees, and then we turn unsettled into Sunday. That's ahead of that stronger cold front that's going to be pushing through Sunday afternoon through Sunday night. We could even see a rumble of thunder there, not expecting anything severe, but we're going to see that rain push through by Sunday night. And then as that storm system pushes to the northeast, colder air wraps around it, and then yes, not out of the question, maybe a flurry or a brief shower there as we go into Monday night into early Tuesday. But Tuesday does look like the coldest day over the next 10 days. There's that area of high pressure building to our south. Cold air sinks southward into much of the mid-Atlantic and northeast as we go into early next week. 64 today with sun to clouds, a breezy day, 54 overnight. So it is a milder night, not as cold, with those gusts upwards of 25 miles an hour. And then we are at 70 for our Saturday. Few morning sprinkles. Other than that, it's a partly cloudy afternoon. A mild day. Winds not too bad out of the west at 5 to 10 miles an hour. 69 for our Sunday, with the best chance of rain coming in there by the afternoon into the early evening hours. 52 by Monday, and I think that 50 is going to come early in the day because the temperature's going to be falling through the afternoon, and then that chance of a shower or flurry, and then a cold, blustery Veterans Day. 46 degrees. We'll have winds gusting 30 to 35, but it's a brief shot of cold air because then we moderate back into the 50s by the middle part of next week under mostly sunny skies.
Thank you, Chris. Renovations for Waterside Park can begin soon after Salisbury City Council approved $165,000 to meet the goal. The goal for this $650,000 renovation is to add bathroom facilities and a pavilion. Council was able to confirm how much was needed after solidifying a design plan. These plans have been 6 or 7 years in the making, Mayor Randy Taylor said.
Waterside Park services a lot of people in that corridor, and it's essentially a playground in an open area, but it doesn't have any facilities there. So this will give them some bathroom facilities and a covered area to kind of expand the use of the park.
Mayor Taylor says construction for the new amenities at Waterside Park should begin in January, with completion expected around March.
The Delaware State Fairgrounds in Harrington will turn into a drive-through clinic this Sunday, offering free vaccines for dogs and cats. The Brandywine Valley SPCA, in partnership with Petco Love, is hosting the event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Organizers ask that cats come in their carriers and that dogs will remain leashed. And rabies shots will be 1-year doses, and distemper vaccines will protect against multiple viruses for both dogs and cats. The clinic runs rain or shine. And speaking of pets, the time is now 5:53, Elisa, as we're taking a look at our coastal pet of the day. This is Mary.
And today's coastal pet of the day is coming to us from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. On your screen right now is Mary. Mary is sweet and great on walks. She also has so much love to give, as you can see by that face. And we want you to adopt Mary or any other lovable pet, and you can head over to the Brandywine Valley SPCA.
She looks beautiful in her little purple collar. Very beautiful girl. Well, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva, and maybe you'll adopt Mary and send us some photos. And you can tell us what makes your pet so special if you take a look at your screen now.
Scan that QR code at the top of your screen and submit your furry friend to Coast TV News. Then, of course, watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature.
Frosty start to our Friday. Many areas away from the beaches beginning below the freezing mark, but we're going to bump it up into the mid-60s by this afternoon. It'll be a bit breezy through the latter part of the day. See a brief chance of a shower overnight, 70 for Saturday, and then a better chance of rain comes Sunday with a stronger cold front. And we'll drop it into the upper 40s for highs for Veterans Day. And then we're looking pretty dry for the rest of next week with highs in the 50s. So a little appetizer for what's to come next week, I think.
Chris, is really starting to feel like fall officially on the coast.
But 70 tomorrow?
That's going to feel pretty good.
I'll take that.
I'm happier with the 60-degree temperatures this afternoon. Much better than this morning. Well, thank you so much, Chris. And coming up at 6, Budget Shortfall Solutions. We'll tell you what Delaware lawmakers are set to do today to get ahead of what they say is an expected budget deficit. We'll be right back.